Welcome everyone back to the SimZone. We're here for the penultimate round of the IMB Racewear pardon me, GT3 Championship, and currently coming into this qualifying session we have Palatella on a provisional pole on a 147.860, only 400ths quicker than Sidor at the moment in P2. Alina currently in P3, just 0.2 off. Pryor in P4 we're watching. This could be his best qualifying session yet. I know yesterday at Indianapolis he said that could have been his best qualifying session yet, but I believe he made a mistake on his last lap in quali. They're currently sitting P4, which is a great place to be sitting, above Castorino in P5. Now if you haven't noticed already, for those that are regular viewers, Pryor has now got, Matt Pryor has now got a custom livery, and if we look down towards Stuart Pryor, it's the same livery. So this is going to make it 10 times more confusing, or it might even make it easier, I don't know. But yeah, they're pardon me, in the same livery now. So yeah, both named Pryor, and if I take those manufacturer logos off, yeah, it's going to be tricky to tell who's who, especially if they're on track together, but at the moment it doesn't look like they are, and I think that's an invalid lap there from Pryor. Yeah, he ran, actually no, it's not invalid just yet for Pryor. Thought he ran a bit wide there, but he's still on a valid lap here. Matt Pryor currently a 10th up as he exits the final corner. It looks like he's lost it on the exit. Still going to sit P4. Maybe it could be a slight improvement as we see him coming up towards the line. Yes, he did improve ever so slightly there. There were a bit more of a gap to Castorino in P5. Sidor 3/10ths up here, and oh, looks like he's made a mistake there, a bit too into the first two turns, and then lost it on the exit. And in these wet conditions, it's all about slowing fast out. D'Angelo currently running in P9, 3/10ths up this lap. This could put him in P4, maybe starting on the second row. We'll have to wait and see here. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what he can do. Still 3/10ths up as he approaches the last few corners here, coming through the final corner now. This is where we saw Pryor lose a few tenths, but looks like it's been the opposite for D'Angelo. He's gained a couple of tenths here on the exit, and I think this is going to secure him P4 in this qualifying session so far, at least. We've still got some time to go, and there we go, crosses the line. P4 for D'Angelo, 4 tenths off of that provisional pole time set by Palatella, who looks like he's up for an improvement already, and he's just started the lap here. But he's got some traffic in front of him, so that might not help him at all in this quali session. Trapani in the Ferrari. I don't know if that was a rhyme or not, but currently 3 tenths up as he approaches the last corner. The Ferrari, a decent car at Imola, but at the moment they are further down the order. And let's see as he approaches the line. Is it going to be P11 here for Trapani? Yes, it is. P11 for Trapani as he crosses the line. Brownhill now in P12. He's just started a lap as well. Who's about to come across the line? We've got Stuart Pryor now, who is coming up towards the last few corners. Currently P20, 4 tenths up. Where would that put him? Around P15 maybe? Let's see if he can hold on here. If not, it's probably going to be P16. It's going to be really, really close. Pardon me, as he comes across the line. And no, P16 there. Just less than a tenth separating Novak and Pryor, P15 and P16 at the moment. Let's look back at the man on pole at the moment, Palatella, who is slapping around at the moment. I think the track condition has got worse, so we may not see many improvements towards the end of this quali session. D'Angelo though has gone P. Oh yeah, we saw D'Angelo go P4. Pryor though is up a tenth. He's got another sector to go. He only needs to find. Oh no, he needs to find 2 tenths here if he wants to gain P4 back. But nevertheless, even if he doesn't, P5 is going to be a great. Nope, down to P6 now. P6 is still going to be a great qualifying position to start in. Mullard goes into P5 there. It's really, really close here. The top 12 just separated by a second, even in these wet conditions, which is lovely to see. And Palatella coming through the hairpin now. Let's go on board with him just to get an idea of how he takes this lap, or the second half of this lap at Imola. They're coming up towards this double left, really. I like to call it a double left. Got a bit of a straight before you have to turn left once again. I don't really know the corner names, but that's mainly because I can't pronounce half of them. So we go back up towards back up now towards the chicane. This is a very tricky part of the circuit. Easy to invalidate, easy to lose the car if you take too much curb, especially on the second half here. But the BMW, they're having no issues whatsoever. Driving over those curves like they're not even there. This qualifying session about to come to an end. You can see on the brakes now into first, interestingly. Probably because we are in the wet conditions, but a bit of a slide as he enters the final corner. And it's not going to be an improvement this time around. It's only 2 tenths down though on this lap. But let's have a look. Castorino still on a lap. He's put it into P4 now as Castorino, so he's jumped up the order. Pryor now goes down into P7, but still there is absolutely nothing separating well, P7 and P8 at the moment. Brownhill and P8 now. You've got the top 13 separated by a second here at Imola, so it's very, very close once again. And there we go, the timer has hit 0, so we are into the last few moments of this qualifying session. Anyone who crosses the line now will not be able to put in another lap, and anyone who's sitting in the pits has finished their qualifying session. Ben Mullard currently a 10th up. He's coming to the hairpin now. Yes, into the hairpin, so he's still got another half of the lap to go. Plenty of time to be gained. Well, I say plenty of time to be gained. He's only 4.5 tenths, just over, off of Palatella. Carlino looks like he was. Oh, he's a 10th up here. And let's see what he can do. He only needs to find 2 tenths here, and it's easily done into this chicane. You can see he's taking a lot of curb and he's invalidated. It's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Take too much curb, you run the risk of invalidating your lap. So that's his qualifying session over. And I don't think anyone is going to be able to improve. So Palatella in P1, Sidor in P2 and Carlino in P3. We'll be back very shortly for the start of the race, so make sure to stick with us. So the drivers are now getting ready to start their formation lap. It's a wet track here at Imola. Looks like we've got medium rain at the moment. It looks to settle down in about 10 minutes. So maybe we see the drivers adjusting their tyre pressures when they go to pit. They may not even need to change tyres. Some of them, I'm sure, will be staying on the same tyre set from the start to gain some more time on whoever they're battling with. But coming into this round, I will have a read of the comments in just a second, but coming into this round, it's Castorino leading the championship on 417 points, followed by Trapani in P2 on 369, Sidor in P3 on 360, Alatella in P4 on 356, Mullard in P5 on 345. So the battle for P3 is on at the moment. Angelo in P6 on 327, Brownhill in P7 on 300, Carl Van Horn in P8 on 276, Kutcha in P9 on 265, and to round off the top 10, Maggiore on 255. Got some close battles here in this final round of the championship. Sorry, this penultimate round of the championship. Got the final round next week. And that will be at, where will that be? It will be at, Watkins Glen. Nice. So the final round, and I know Lee, if you're watching, well, I know you're watching, that is, I believe, one of your favourite tracks? I don't know. But let's see. With the comments, we got Kenny in, Scott in, good to see you, Contentnow as well. Good to see you as well. AWSF1, yeah, a bit better. Enough to commentate at least. Yeah, Lord Pro saying yes, it's his favorite track. CJ saying, let's do my dancey dance. I assume that's the, pardon me, that's the rain dance. Yeah, Cody, you really need to stop doing that rain dance. But actually, we're getting into, we should be getting into warmer weather. I say that, and there's been snow today, at least here in the UK. So, yeah, no, I'm not sure. Maybe next season. I mean, next season will be in about early to mid-April. So, I think maybe we might see some less rain. Who knows? Who knows anymore, really? Now, let's get a quick track walk here of Imola as well. We're nearly at the end of the lap, to be honest, so let's go to our track walk very, very quickly. And yep, do not expect me to pronounce any of these names. But Imola, of course, being one of the tracks, well, being the track where the racing legend Senna unfortunately passed away. I believe it's 1994. I can't remember. It was around then. I think it is 1994. But yeah, it's a lovely track. Is Imola. It's been changed a lot since then, of course. And there we have it. A track walk of Imola. Sector 1. It's quite a quick sector. Sector 2. Well, it's a really good flowing track. All the sectors quite fast. I think maybe the slowest Sector 3 because you've got that chicane and the two tight left-handers towards the end of the circuit. But here we go. Drivers lining up side by side now. Going to get ready for the race start. It's a wet race here at Imola. And who's going to get the jump into turn 1? Is it going to be Palatella who holds onto P1 or Sidor with the acceleration of the Porsche? And we think we're going to be green in just a moment. You can see the lights there, red at the moment. We're not going to be able to see if they go green, but we'll just have to wait. I think they might be going, oh, we are green already. So here we go. Palatella sticks to the inside, but Sidor with a monster start off the line there. Already defends the inside, already up into P1. Palatella trying to fight back here. And is he going to look for a move down the inside? He tries it. Castorino trying to go around the outside there. And these two separated by nothing at the moment, so not a great start there from Palatella. Nearly losing another position to Castorino, but it looks like he's just fended him off to hold on to P2. Sidor with a great start, using the Porsche's acceleration to his advantage. And I expected no less there from Sidor. But Castorino, more importantly, up into P3 now, started in P4. Carlino down a position, he started in P3, so these two have swapped positions off the start. We've got the two Astons, we know the Astons are quick at Imola, and they're really good in the rain as well. So it's a great combination for the Aston drivers. So Carlino followed by D'Angelo, then Mullard in P6. I believe Mullard and D'Angelo have stayed in their qualifying positions. Brown here on P7 as well, so he's gained a position from the start. Matheson in P8, followed by Matt Pryor very closely behind, and Kutscher got a poor exit there. Looks like Trapani's going to try and pull to the outside. Kutscher going defensive, and I think he's going to be able to hold on here. It's not really a place for an overtake unless you've got enough of your car along the inside. It looks like we've got someone off in the background there. Puschetti, a few of the cars having to cut across the grass there. I think they may have braked a bit too late. Stuart Pryor here now going side by side with Novak coming up towards the penultimate corner, but Pryor holds on to P16, and you can see there Van Hoorn in the mix as well, just up ahead. Looks like, oh, is that damage on Pryor's car? Don't think it is. Oh, a huge mistake there from Van Hoorn. No damage on Pryor's car. A huge mistake there from Van Hoorn. Too much curb on the inside through the final corner. He's going to suffer on this straight all the way down to turn 1, and maybe even the Porsche of Novak can use the slipstream of Pryor to slingshot past Van Hoorn here. It's going to be really, really close between these two, but no, the Porsche, even with the slipstream, doesn't have enough legs, and Van Hoorn going defensive there to fend off Novak into turn 1. Pugh is just on the back of these three as well. And now Benecristo is caught up. Blanchette is there. McGurry is here as well. Paul Mitchell in the battle as well in P22 currently. He didn't think of it all, and looks like that is Breen off the track there in the background. Looks like he got onto the grass ever slightly, lost the car on the exit, and I believe he may have had the throttle pinned when he went slightly wide, because that's usually what happens when you get onto the grass and you have the throttle pinned. Unfortunately, he's dropped down to last place now. He's got a bit of damage. Doesn't look like it was too much. But we look back towards the top two, they're very, very close, and even with battling, they've pulled a second and a half to Castorino in P3. What a shame there for Breen. He was running well at the start. Now we look towards as well D'Angelo, who's fending off Mullard, and here we go, Sidor. He's going to have to go defensive here, coming up towards the penultimate corner. Looks like Palatella on the outside. But, pardon me, is he going to try for a switchback? No, he's not. It's very narrow in these last two corners. Not really much room for overtaking. And, of course, unless you're already side by side, but that's quite difficult to do. You really have to get a good exit out of the previous chicane, and then coming down the hill, you need to be side by side beforehand. But we know the Porsche are very slow on the straights here, and Palatella's going to pull towards the outside, and Sidor leaving him just enough room here on the outside, but opening up the corner enough for himself to take it properly. And Palatella with a huge mistake there. Is he going to lose a position to Castorino? Castorino now trying it around the outside, Palatella leaving him room. Castorino on the curb, D'Angelo in the background onto the grass, but he's kept it pointing in the right direction, and Matthewson in the background onto the grass as well. And Castorino looks like he's got a bit deep here. Palatella is going to be side by side with him, coming up towards the hairpin, and is he going to try for another switchback? Castorino deep once again, and we've got the trees blocking the view, and they're side by side on the exit. And no, Castorino manages to hold on just about, but with these two fighting, they've let Sidor pull a 2-second gap. Now the gap between Palatella and Sidor is just a few tenths, and that one mistake and that short amount of battling between these two has cost them heaps of time. And you can see there Mullard now having to defend against Brown here. Mullard's lost a bit of time to D'Angelo as well. D'Angelo is now caught up to Carlino in front, so this is pretty much a 3-car battle. Sidor just in front of these three. Mullard losing a bit of time now to the Aston in front, and I'm not surprised. The Audi not the best car in the wet, and well, now track's gone to damp. The Audi might be struggling a bit more. The Aston is going to find some more pace here. We'll have to wait and see. TJ saying the cameraman will strike again. We don't want to see the trees, yeah. Pardon me, we really don't want to see the trees at all. Cameramen seem to like the nature, so I don't know if they've been I don't know, nature photographers beforehand, and maybe trying to look out for some birds in the trees. It looks like we've got Patrick Den there and Stuart Pryor coming up towards turn 1. Den looks like he is bending off Pryor now. I believe he's changed his livery, but we didn't get to do that. We didn't get to install that, unfortunately. But for next season, I believe we'll be using the awesome sim racing line, so that should all update, and it'll be much easier for us, especially with the amount of championships that we're running at the moment. But then holding on very nicely there in P14 with Pryor just behind. We're gonna have to go to Sidor once again. He's still got a 1.5 gap to Castorino, but they're now closing in on Sidor. That last lap from Sidor, a 1:49.0, but I think this lap's going to be slower because Castorino's last lap was a 1:49.3. But yeah, this lap they're definitely reeling him in, and it's now Castorino followed by Palatella, then Carlino, and then D'Angelo in the background. They've pulled away from the 3 and 3 behind them. We've got another separate battle going here for P6. Mullard followed by Brownhill, then Matthewson as they roll through the final corner. Then we've got another duo here. We've got Pryor and Kutcher battling for for P9 and P8. These two started in their qualifying positions, well, they stayed in their qualifying positions, sorry, so nothing really going on there for them. We're going to have to stay on board with this battle for P3. But we'll do that with our second screen. I'll flick down towards Pryor here, who's in P9. And Kutscher looking for a move there down the inside, braking a bit later. A bit more curb there he's using in the Honda, and that doesn't look to have helped him too much. The curbs look really, really slippery in these conditions. Even though it is now a damp track, they're still going to be very, very wet with the wet paint they've got as well on the exits of some of these corners. You see a lot of the drivers staying well clear on most of the curbs. Those rumble strips on the exits, they are okay. They've got a bit more grip to them as they are grooved. But for the most part, the drivers are staying well clear of the curbs. Let's quickly flick down towards P20. Benecrista, who is still in this battle, I believe. Oh, what's happened there to Blanchette? Has he let... Oh, I'm not sure what's happened there to Blanchette. I think he may have made contact with Maggieri. It doesn't look like they've got any damage. Maggieri starting in P22. He's made up 4 positions already, so yeah, not exactly sure what happened to Blanchette. Maybe thinks that Maggieri has a bit more pace here. No, huge mistake there from Blanchette, running wide in the exit of the chicane. Benecrista's going to have the slipstream now, the draft coming up towards the penultimate corner. It's Ferrari versus Ferrari. No difference in car here. It's just going to be down to the driver and the setup. And looks like Benecrista with a late move down the inside. Blanchette leaving the door wide open. Is anticipating that. He's going to try it once again, coming through the final corner, all over the curb on the inside, but wasn't able to get that done. And look who's joined in the action. Mitchell there in P21. He's got the slipstream on both of these two. A double slipstream. Now he's going to pull alongside. And the Ferraris there giving each other a bit of a slipstream, but now Benecrista on the inside. Looks like Mitchell, oh, it's going to be so close here. Mitchell, maybe a bit of a mistake, leaving the door open on the inside, but slots in there, in between the two Ferraris. Up into P20 he goes, and we'll see if he can hunt down Benecrista now, but we've got some more drivers getting involved in the action. Pardon me. You can see Kusinskas here in P22. We've got Barth in P23. And I believe that's... No, yeah, we've got 2 more cars in the background. We've got Sainio and Pew. Pew's dropped right down the order, in fact. I wonder what's happened to him. He's dropped 9 positions. I think he's made a mistake somewhere. I don't see any damage on his Porsche. But looking further up once again, looks like Blanchette has lost another position there too. Kusinskas, who's made a move down the inside there. Blanchette all over the curb on the exit. That's going to allow Barth to come through. Looks like Den has lost the car there. He's on the grass. He's got it going once again. But there's been, well, some incident there. And, well, you can see how much curb he's using into the chicanes. That's quite risky there in the Porsche. Yeah, it looks like he is struggling at the moment. He does have a bit of damage on the car. Maybe we can see a replay of what happened to him. We can see there Palatella still battling with Castorino, trying to get a move done, and Sidor not far up ahead either, but they're still a bit spaced out to Sidor. I don't really think they'll be catching him in a couple of laps unless he makes a mistake. We look back down towards Barth and Kusinskas. In fact, Barth has got the move done on Kusinskas, and now it's the Lexus driver and the Ferrari driver, Kusinskas and Blanchette, going side by side. And Lexus moves over to the racing line. That's left the door open there for Blanchette, but he backs out the move sensibly there. And as these 3 are battling, you can see in the background Sainio and Pew are catching up once again. And this will be a great battle to see in just a moment. We look towards Novak in P16 at the moment, and Van Hoorn. Novak in the Adweiser Racing Team Porsche there, and Van Hoorn in the Astor Racing Team Aston Martin. Still following each other at the moment. That last lap was very, very similar between these two. Novak was slightly slower by about 800ths. It looks like he is catching up even more this lap. Slightly wide there for Van Hoorn as well. And Novak is reeling him in lap after lap. Van Hoorn started in P15, so he hasn't moved from his qualifying position just yet. He's got the pressure of Novak behind him now. We know Van Hoorn is a very, very capable driver, and he's been in this position many a times through the season. He's had to defend drivers behind him, and he has one hard driver to overtake. So we'll see what Novak can do coming onto this straight. Well, doesn't look like he's got any hope of getting past. He's lost 2 or 3 tenths there just on the straight alone. And it's the corners for Novak where he needs to take advantage of. Then we look towards Trapani in P13, who is battling with Hooschii now. Looks like Palatella is still P3 on the back of Castellino as well. That battle's still going on, but wow, the mid-pack is still very, very close. It's Matheson, well, Mullard, Matheson, Brownhill, Kutscher, Pryor, Curtin, Hooschii, Trapani. Yeah, so all those drivers pretty much quite close to each other. You can see there's not much separating them all, but then down to P14, Stuart Pryor, there's a 6.5 second gap, so that's where it really breaks off, and then we've got separate battles going on down in well, from P14 down to P20ish, or P21 in fact. That's Mitchell and Barth battling for position. Mitchell on P20 now, having to fend off the Porsche behind him. Jan looks like he's really enjoying these conditions, pardon me. But he didn't have the best of starts. He's dropped 2 positions off the start so far. Just got a bit of work to do if he wants to gain those spaces back. Mitchell looks like he might be going defensive coming up towards the penultimate corner. Or is he not phased? Doesn't look like he's phased by Barth yet. Barth, oh actually no, he is going defensive. I don't think Barth was close enough to go for a move there, so he could have taken the racing line. And it might be a bit of a poor exit out the final corner there for Mitchell, and it looks like it has been. Barth is right on the back of him. There's a bounce over the grass there ever so slightly. But can the Porsche get past with the slipstream? Barth was looking for it. He's trying to move alongside, but he can't. He has to stay in that slipstream until the last moment if he wants to stick with the Audi on the straights. That's the problem with the Porsche, and I believe Barth is running full wing as well. So it's not going to serve him well on the straights, but you can see in the corners where he's much quicker, and he pulls alongside Mitchell, and Mitchell is going to have to leave him the room. But Barth, does he have his car alongside enough? They're going to go side by side here. Mitchell's left in the room, but he's got the inside for the next corner. Barth is going to try a switch back. They're going to be side by side coming up towards the hairpin. You can see in the background Blanchett and Kacinskas going side by side as well. So we've got well, this is now a 4-car battle for P20 here. Barth being left and right to force Mitchell into a mistake early on here. He's not got left of the pit window to go, and looks like that was Blanchett very wide there into that left hand. And what's happened to Kacinskas? He's lost the car. That's not him. He has lost the car. I think he got all over that curb on the exit, and yeah, he's got some damage on that Lexus now. He's running such a great race up until then, but he's not going to be able to catch a break because he's now got Pew right at the back of him. He's only a second off here. So he's been defending quite a while. He's now going to have to defend once more. But let's go back to this battle for, well, P21. Let's see if we can flick to them very, very quickly. It's a 3-car battle now. Mitch a bit deep into the penultimate corner. Barth looking for a move down the inside. Mitch leaving a bit too much room. I think he's been a bit too nice there into the final corner. He's allowed the Ferrari of Blanchett to get a really good run, but he's boxed in. He can't move anywhere. Barth leaves him the room. But that's possibly going to make them 3 wide here. Barth pulling back into the slipstreams. Blanchett going to go for a move coming into turn 1. Looks like Mitchell going defensive, so that's not going to leave any room for Blanchett to make a move up the inside, and still, as it were, Mitchell P20, Blanchett P21 now, and Barth down into P22. Let's quickly switch to the battle for P10. He's got another amazing battle going on here. I believe it's 4 cars in this battle as we speak. We're going to get these two side by side, and looks like a Blanchett deep there into the hairpin. That's going to allow Barth up the inside. These three are chopping and changing positions, but look at this battle we've got. This 4-car battle, pardon me, for well, it's P10, P11, P12 and P13 all in this amazing battle on Van Hoorn. Looks, oh, Curtin, sorry, they've got the same liveries as well. Curtin has got Pachetti right on the back of him. This is allowing Pryor to pull away ever so slightly. And let's get a rear view cam of this battle just behind. Let's have a quick read of the comments as well. Contentnow says, nice move. Mitch, Lawpro saying Barth versus Mitch, yep. Oh, it's 3 of them now. Lawpro saying replay for what? What replay? Let me know, and we'll see if we can bring it up. But I don't really want to, because we've got 2 amazing battles going on at the moment. And we've got the battle for the lead now as well. Oh, Van Hoorn with a, sorry, Curtin with a huge mistake there. A bit of oversteer he got. And well, we're going to have to get a replay of that in just a moment. Not sure what had happened there. It looks like he was either tagged or he lost the car on his own. But let's quickly switch to the battle for the lead now. Castorino has caught the back of Sidor. Castorino with the fastest lap of the race, which was 146.905, and well, he's lapping a 10th quicker, very wide there on the exit of the chicane. You can see there's a dry line forming now. It's gone to greasy. We've still got rainfall on the track, and that's not going to change. It's going to be rain throughout the whole race, but there is a visible dry line on the track now, and I think we get the drivers switching to slicks by the time the pit window opens. So, well, it wasn't expected that this would happen, but we're going to have a good strategy race here as well. And look at that dry line. Castorino is taking that dry line. He's forced Sidor to stay on the wet side of the track, but the roles have been reversed now. But Castorino down the straight is going to get that move done. Sidor can't fight back, although later on the brakes he pulls towards the inside, and Castorino well, leaves the door open, because that was an absolute lunge there from Sidor, but took advantage, and well, back into P1 goes Sidor. What a move, what a reply back there from the Porsche driver. And maintains P1, but let's get a replay of what happened there to Curtin, because that was a very unfortunate incident there for him, and I think he lost it by himself. We'll just make sure. Oh no, there was contact, unfortunately. There was contact. Yeah, here is the replay. So here we go. Curtin's got, well, he had Pachetti, I believe, following him very, very closely behind. Pachetti looks towards the inside, taps the rear of Curtin. Curtin with nowhere to go, collects, I believe that was Cipriani as well. And, well, he was facing the wrong way, got it going after that. And, well, he's now battling with Stuart Pryor as we speak. But yeah, I definitely think we're going to see the drivers switching to slicks once they pit. Well, the pit window is open now, so we could see the drivers pitting. Yes, Sidor pits early. Castorino's going to stay out. This could be a bit of a mistake here for Castorino. Although he's in clean air, he's on the wet tyres, and if Sidor can get a really good outlap on the slicks, it's going to pay off well for him. But those slick tyres are going to be really, really cold on the outlap, so he may even lose a bit more time here. I think Castorino may be waiting for the track to dry up a bit more. We've got less rain in about 10 minutes. So we're just going to have to see what Castorino decides and what his team decides for him in terms of pit strategy. Now we're Curtin and Pryor, both Aston Martins battling for position. Curtin doesn't look like he's picked up much damage after that that incident, and yeah, in the replay, of course, we had a different livery for Curtin. There's not much we can do there. The liveries take a while to transfer over, but for next season, it's going to be much, much easier for us, as we will be using the awesome sim racing app, where drivers upload the liveries themselves, and it's just a click of a button for us, pardon me, to install the liveries. So it'll be much easier. And well, Curtin's still holding off now, and I know Lee, Lord Piroth, your joke from last time, Curtin got hit so hard that his livery came off and be used again. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but yeah, Jan saying he got hit in lap 1. That's a shame for Jan. He is fighting back through now, and looks like Mitchell in P14 still. But we've got quite a few drivers into the pits now. Lullard in the pits, Sanio in the pits, Benequisto in the pits as well. Castorino in provisional race lead. Where is Sidor now that he has pitted? Looks like he's come out in some traffic. He's got Pew, another Porsche driver, just a second up the road. That could be some time lost there for Sidor. We look to... oh no. What was I going to look to? I was going to look to... I have no idea now. A few drivers in the pits. I think I was going to look for one of them. But yeah, this is the pit stop stage now, with the pit window open. And well, I was saying that drivers wouldn't switch tyres. They're definitely going to have to now. It's gone from wet to greasy. And yeah, we will see slick tyres, I think, towards, well, in the pit stops. And for the drivers that don't choose the slicks, well, they're going to be in a bit of trouble here, because those wet tyres right now must be really inflated and really hot. We saw some of the drivers going offline there to try and cool down the tyres. And I think if they don't pit now, they're going to be losing a lot of time. You can see how much understeer that Prior's got going through some of these corners. It's really struggling now, although the Aston, well, most of the front engine cars are much better in these conditions than the mid-engine cars, so I'd assume that the drivers in the mid-engine cars will be pitting earlier. Those really don't handle well in these mixed conditions, especially when you've got those wet tyres on a drying up track, although it will probably stay greasy throughout. And once again, a lot of understeer now. I think he will pit this lap. If not, he's going to be losing heaps of time for those who have pitted for the slicks already. And you can see just up in front, that is the McLaren of, I believe, no, it's not Sanio. Sanio has served his pit stop, so I believe he's on slicks now as well. That's one of the McLarens. Don't know who. Oh, it's Maggiore actually in front, and Maggiore is currently in... where's Maggiore? P23. And yeah, he has served his pit stop too, so the drivers behind him still have to pit, and he's run wide there. I'm not sure Maggiore has the slick tyres. It's quite hard to tell, but we'll bring up the pit stop times just so we can double check. Let's go back to Castorino. He's out on still out on track at the moment. Sidor looks like hasn't been troubled by any traffic because Pew had pitted. Contentnow saying yes, like Kailami, bright red wet tyres. Yeah, definitely don't want to be on bright red wet tyres. You risk running the risk of a puncture there. Once you get a puncture, it's so hard to drive the car. And it's going to be a bit of a task trying to drive back to the pits. It looks like Van Hoorn's got the move done there on Novak. Novak losing a position. They've got Sanio in front of them, who is... well, he's on a different strategy. I don't think he's a back marker. No blue flags being waved, but this is one heck of a battle going on at the moment. It's Van Hoorn followed by Novak. Then we've got... well, in fact, that's Pew who served his pit stop. Then we've got... behind Pew is... oh, a huge mistake there from Van Hoorn, all over the curb on the inside. He keeps it together. That could have been in the wall there for Pew, like we saw Kosinskas do. But yeah, drivers taking liberties with the curbs here, which isn't what you want to be doing, and as a result, Novak goes wide, rejoins the circuit onto the grass slightly. But yeah, we've got Pew and Mitchell. Looks like they're battling for position as well if I'm not mistaken. Where is Pugh? Oh, Stuart Pryor on the exit of the pits. Just saw yellow flags there. And yes, Pugh and Mitchell are battling for position as we speak. So, looks like Novak trying to get past Mitchell here, and there we go. He's going to get past into the penultimate corner. But Breen currently in P26, still going after that mistake he had, or that kiss he had with the wall. Not Jan. Don't worry, it's not Jan on track at the moment. Whose nickname is the wall. It was the barriers, barrier, if you'd like to say. Let's look back to Castorino, who's still on track here. In terms of lap times now, this will be a good indication to see if Sidor's quicker on the sticks. So Castorino in the 147s at the moment. Sidor, where is Sidor? In 146s, yeah, Sidor's now taking fastest lap in the race, so he's lapping almost a second quicker to Castorino. So he is reeling him in, and maybe even after this pit stop, Castorino is going to be behind Sidor. Palatella on the exit now, 8.5 seconds behind Sidor, and looks like that's Kusinskas off the track there. He's really been struggling and rejoins the circuit out of anyone's way. Yeah, he's really struggling at the moment. He has repaired his damage, which is good to see. We're not sure what tyres he's on, and that's what I was going to do. I was going to check what their pit stop times were. So let's have a look. Oops. Let's have a quick look. Last stop length. There we go. So there we go. Yeah, Sidor with a 74-second pit stop. Yeah, I think most of the drivers have changed tyres. Actually, I'm not sure. It's quite hard one to quite hard to say, really. I think a 74-second pit stop is with a tyre change. I mean, there's no way they'd be running their wet tyres in these conditions. So yeah, Sidor has probably changed his tyres. We've got a few 80-second pit stops here, which is a bit slower. So maybe this pit catching a few drivers out. Butcher now into the pits, so it's left with the top 4 who yet to pit, and they are really running a massive risk here, keeping the wet tyres out for this long. They're definitely going to be losing time to the drivers on the slicks. I think those who have pitted early have gone for the right strategy call here, and it looks like we've got Hugh and Senio battling for position bound in P20. Looks like Senio has got the move done, but yellow flag somewhere. Hankerson, that's odd. He's in the pits. Can't see where his car is. Do you have a helicam? Oh right, he's in the pits, but wait, no. Hankerson is in. Car is Hankerson in? I have no idea what's happened there to Hankerson. Hold on, let's see if we can find out what happened. The manufacturer, Hankerson is in. Oh, Aston. Did he stop correctly? Yeah, it shows he served his pit stop. It's really odd. And back to Castorino. Here we have to pit. In fact, we don't want to go back to Castorino. We want to go back to this battle with Senio and Pugh, and that is the number 13. I believe that's Van Hoorn just up ahead, who's, well, still yet to pit. And I think he's going to pit this lap. Be a mistake, I think, if he doesn't. Oh, he's still staying out. The rain's getting slightly heavier in 10 minutes, but it's not going to be enough for the track to go to damp, in my opinion. I think it's going to stay greasy to the end. You can see, yeah, I mean, you can see how much time he's losing, and Senio onto the grass, and he's, oh, made contact there with Van Hoorn. Van Hoorn flying over those curves, and Senio, huge mistake there, trying to stay ahead of Pugh, but he's not going to be able to do that. He got hooked onto the grass, and well, Van Hoorn's not going to be liking that one. He managed to stay ahead, and I don't really think he got much damage from that. Maybe a bit of exchanged paintwork. But yeah, still lapping well here. Yeah, for Van Hoorn, his last lap was a 151. So much slower than what he's been lapping earlier on in the race. Or much slower than those on 6 at least. Because he was battling with... Who was he battling with beforehand? Well, let's compare his times to Pry and P14. 149's Pry is currently lapping in. Barth is currently lapping in low 150s. Blanchette is lapping in 149s as well. So yeah, maybe 2 seconds a lap, or a second a lap slower. Van Hoorn here. So yeah, like I said, staying on those wet tyres is a huge mistake, I think. And Pry now bending off Trapani. Got a bit more of the trees there, and Trapani's going to do it around the outside there, through the hairpin. What a move there from Trapani. Round the outside of the hairpin. That's a difficult move to make, but he ended up doing it. And I think that forced Pryor onto the wet line as well, the wet surface of the track, having to hug the inside of the exit of the hairpin. And there we go, we've got Novak, Van Hoorn in the pits. Castorino still out on track. Very, very interesting. And yes, he is in clean air, lapping on his own, but on the wet tyres. And like I said earlier, he was about a second a lap slower. That last lap from Castorino, 148 for Sidor, 146 from Sidor. I think Sidor might be able to take the lead here, and by quite a margin. Especially when the pit stop times are about 70 seconds-ish. The gap between Castorino and Sidor is now 68 seconds. And who's that into the wall? Is that Matheson? Is that Matheson? I think it is. Yes, it is Matheson into the wall. What has happened to him? He's sat in the wall there. Has he had an equipment failure or something? We've seen it happening before with a few of the drivers. It's a real shame, and well, he's jumping down the order. Still yellow flags out on track. So let's hope he can continue. I mean, God knows what's happened. God knows what's happened there to him. We go to Castorino. He's in the pits now. Let's see where he'll come out. Sidor still out on track. In fact, Sidor coming up towards, what's this, the penultimate corner now. And we've got another battle going on between Den and Novak. The two Porsches out on track. We'll quickly switch to them, but I want to see if Sidor does stay out in front. Castorino's got going. Sidor on the start-finish straight now. Well, it might be a bit closer. No. Sidor is coming part. Yeah, it might be a bit closer than I expected, in fact. They might meet each other. No, Sidor's going to stay ahead. And Castorino's just now been released off the limiter. There we go. That's about, what, 4 or 5 second gap between the two? Yeah, there we go. 5 seconds. It might even be more now. Is it going to go up? Yep, it's going up ever so slightly. There we go. About 5.5 seconds now between the two. So Sidor, with the right strategy call, has been enough of these mixed weather races to know what to do here. And, well, his experience has played off. So now we go down to Blanchette and Novak. Well, Den, Blanchette and Novak. It's a 3-car battle here. Novak was in the back of Den, so he's lost a position to Blanchette in, well, just this lap. We didn't quite catch that. Let's switch to Palatella now, who is on the back of Castorino. Castorino's lost so much time by staying out on the wets for that long. He's now having to fend off Palatella once again. The battle for P2 is still on, and I think Sidor's going to be able to pull away now in these conditions. He's been out on the track for long enough. His tyres might be a bit warmer now, or at least up to the pressures he'd want them at. But Castorino, with him on his out lap at the moment, it's going to take a few laps for his tyres to get up to temperature. Especially if he's on the slicks, which I think he is, because you can see the track with still that dry line. In fact, Castorino might be on the wets here. I'm not 100% sure. Palatella using more of that dry line, and Castorino, oh, taking the normal racing line, which, oh, the normal wet line even. But now onto the normal racing line here. You can really still see that dry part of the circuit, although it's not as visible as it was before, and a bit of a tussle there with one of the back markers, but he moves out of the way. I think that's Sanyo in P20 who moves out of the way there just in time. We've still got this battle now with Novak, Blanchette and Den. In fact, Novak has dropped back a couple of seconds now, and Blanchette has reeled in Den, and where he's most going to reel him in is on that start-finish straight. Although he's not within the slipstream range, it's about a second is that slipstream range, but you know, the Ferrari's still quicker on the straights than the Porsche is. And looking at Palatella now, he's got a great exit coming up the hill towards the chicane now, and Castorino moves back over to the racing line just in time to open up that corner as much as he can. Looks like he's got a better exit out of the chicane than Palatella has, but Palatella's really putting on the pressure now to Castorino. And yeah, Sidor is going to be able to pull away, although he's lapping in the 47s. That last lap was a 47 for Sidor, so maybe a slight mistake from him. Palatella lapping in the 46s at the moment, so if Palatella can get past Castorino, he might be able to catch Sidor in time. But getting past this Honda is not easy by any means. Castorino's been at the top of his game quite a while throughout this championship. I mean, he's currently he's leading the championship, in fact, on how many points was it? 417, which is, well, over 40 points ahead of Trapani in P2, and Trapani's down in P8 in this race at the moment. So Castorino will pretty much still be extending his championship lead by finishing in P2. Palatella, if he can get past, I'm sure he can close that gap to Sidor. It's just about where can he get past. Turn 1 is such a great opportunity, but with that Honda and that immense straight line speed, there we go, pit window is now closed. It's difficult to get past the Honda on the straights down into turn 1. I think for Palatella, he needs Castorino to make a mistake here, or for him to be tangled with one of the back markers, but Crystal there moving out of the way, and it might be a good exit, better exit here for Palatella. There's really not much room on the circuit coming up towards this final sector, or in this final sector, in the final few corners, and he has a look. Not close enough, no dive bomb allowed there, but he's forced Castorino into mistake, and there it goes. They're side by side, put a door up in between the two. Castorino's still on the outside, but looks like Palatella is going to get that move done, but he now has to defend because the Honda in the slipstream with that straight line speed is going to be difficult to hold off coming into turn 1, especially if you can be later on the brakes and hang it round the outside, which I don't think you'll be able to do. And it's all down to the switchback here for Castorino. You can see the exit speed there. Is he going to try around the outside once more? Palatella still defending the inside here. Castorino all over the exit curb. Palatella coming up towards his left hand. He's going to have the inside. Castorino is possibly going to have to back out, and he does. Palatella up into P2 there, and just about managed to hold off Castorino. You can see there Blanchette in well, P14 at the moment, having to defend Patrick Den behind. Oh no, Novak behind him, and then Patrick Den. So Den has lost some time, and it's now a 3-car battle once again between these three. Blanchette in P14, followed by Novak in P15, and then Den in P16. By the looks of it, Palatella now struggling to pull away from Castorino. Might even have to go defensive. Oh, track has actually gone damp. The rain has just got heavier as well. So slick tyres, still slick tyres in damp conditions. Definitely don't want to be going onto the wets at the moment. But those tyre pressures are going to get lower and lower, and you can see they're Den defending against Novak coming into turn 1 here. Blanchette's been able to pull away, and Den with a huge mistake over the sausage curbs, over the sleeping policeman, and there we go. Through goes Novak, up into P15. Benequista into the pits now, which is interesting. Has he got a drive-through penalty? Does Benequista? No, I think he may be on the wrong tyres. Oh, he's picked up some damage, and Palatello now having to defend against Castorino. I don't think they'll actually be I don't think Palatello will be able to catch Sidor at this rate, with these two battling so hard. And Castorino is going to try and go for a move here. Little side by side between these two, and while they're battling, you can see Carlino in the background closing in, and Castorino planned that perfectly, set up Palatello way beforehand, and pretty much a double switchback there from Castorino. He's got that move done. Pryor into the pits. What's happened to Pryor? Why is he pitting? Let's have a look. Matt Pryor into the pits now. Is there any damage on the car? No, we can't see the front. Can't see the front of the car. I don't think there's any damage. I'm not sure. No, no damage. It must be down to tyres. Surely they shouldn't be pitting at this stage of the race. It's going to lose them so much time. The rest of the drivers aren't going to pit. Bring now into the pits as well. It's a huge mistake for some of these drivers pitting at this stage of the race, because damp track is easily good enough for slicks. And Novak now on the back of Blanchette. They've dropped Patrick Den behind. But if the track goes to wet, that's when it will be quite interesting. That's when we might see some more drivers pitting for wet tyres. But at the moment, doesn't look like we will. Interesting strategy calls there from some of the drivers out on track at the moment. It's a big risk, and it may not work. But if it does, they're going to jump right the order when the rest of the drivers pit. But in my opinion, this is not long enough for the race to go. If there was another 15 minutes, then yeah, I think it would be worth it, but it's not. So it's running a huge risk at this stage of the race. And let's quickly look to Castorino and Palatello. No, Palatello's lost some time now. They're getting past Q there in the Porsche, who moves well out of the way. And yeah, they've gapped each other ever so slightly. So the closest two on track at the moment are Blanchette and Novak. And looks like Novak with a bit of a dummy there just before the braking zone. It's not going to phase Blanchette whatsoever. He knows that Novak's not going to send it up the inside. But poor exit there. You can see he's getting a lot of wheel spin on the exit onto that curb. He should be on. Oh, I think he's definitely on slicks there with the amount of wheel spin he had. And Novak's going to have a great opportunity. Here onto the grass he goes. Novak loses the car and almost collects Blanchette. And wow, I don't know how Blanchette avoided that. That was so close. But he faked an entry to the pits there, did Blanchette as well. I think that was a fake into the pits. Maybe tried to get Den to go into the pits there behind him. But we're going to have to get a replay from Blanchette's POV there. That was a brown pants moment, if I've ever seen one. And he's now got Den once again on the back of him. Let's see if we can get a replay up of what happened there from who is it? Blanchette's POV. Oh my god, I've just seen it. Okay, we're gonna have to bring this up. Oh, this is absolutely crazy. But let's have a look now. Here we go, on board with Blanchette. Oh, we've still got this battle going on here between Blanchette and Den. It looks like Den is going to get that move done. But here we go, on board with Blanchette at the moment. I know Den's made a mistake there as well. And he's gone wide, but there we go. Flying across the screen there, just in front. Somehow, I think Blanchett saw it coming and slammed on the brakes as early as possible. Luckily, he did that. There we have it. Novak, as a result, well, in fact, he's only down in P15, 1.8 seconds off. And it doesn't look like he's got any damage on the car either. You can see how much runoff there is. Well, I say runoff, how much space. Oh, a huge mistake there from Den. They're getting loose on the exit curb of the final corner. You're going to allow Novak through. You see, I was going to say, you've got so much gravel there. There were a lot of, oh yeah, we can call it runoff. A lot of space and runoff kill the barriers. So if you make a mistake, that's a good thing about Imola. If you make a mistake, there's a lot of room and not as much chance of picking up damage as you would have on other tracks, especially the British tracks where you've got pretty much just grass, then wall, then a barrier right next to each other. Let's look back to Sidor. Oh wow, he's lost loads of time now. Oh, so has Castorino stayed on the wet tyres? Looks like he's now 2.1 seconds back. And well, Sidor's lap times have dropped. Castorino's lap times have pretty much stayed the same, 147s, but Sidor in the 149s now, so well. Maybe the slicks weren't the best option. He's definitely losing time now. And if he's losing about 2 seconds a lap, well, Castorino's going to be up his chuff in just half a lap here, I think. It's gotten the saying Bambi. Bam moment, yeah. And got a few more comments saying, Yezi in the comments saying, really good comeback from 15th to 7th by Trapani. Yeah, really good comeback, in fact. Is that where he started? Oh well, actually, Trapani started P12 in the race, so he's gained 5 positions since the start, which is amazing. But the most positions gained since the start is from Stuart Pryor in P10. He's gained 8 positions from his starting place, which is P18. It's now P10 as we speak. But looking back at these two, they're going to be side by side, and Sidor just can't do anything here at this stage of the race. Castorino gets past, back into the race lead, and Sidor is now going to lose time to Castorino, already a second. He has to be worried about Palatella behind. Oh, in fact, let's see what times Palatella's doing. No, he doesn't really have to be worried. In fact, Sidor 149.8 and Palatella it was a 148.9. Although a second slower, I think they're both on slicks. So Castorino, well, the luck has played in his favour. Yeah, I thought it was going to stay greasy, and I thought we were going to have a proper dry line to the end, but well, weather changed and we got some more rainfall on the circuit, so drivers on the slicks now I think are losing time. I think it's borderline damp and wet is the track. That's why the drivers on the slicks are losing a lot more time now to the drivers on the wets. Palatella is actually closing the gap now to Sidor. It's down to 3.9 seconds. It was about 5.4 seconds the last time we looked. Yeah, down to, it's really coming down at the moment. Den and Blanchett still separated by just a second, and Blanchett, as he made a huge mistake, he has through the final corner. Den's gonna go up into P14, and it looks like they've got the race leaders now coming through to put a lap on them. Matheson had a game crash. That's a shame. I wondered why he was sat in the gravel there. Just 8 minutes left of this race to go, and now that Blanchett and Den have let one of the lead cars through, they're going to be battling on track once again. But Palatella not far behind. They have to move out of the way once more. You're going to have to time it correctly as well. But you know, we've seen it throughout the championship. The back markers not timing, well, not yielding at the right places, and they lose a position as a result. Their flash of lights from Palatella. It's best to move as early as possible and then try and follow the lead cars through. That is the best thing to do. And that's what Blanchard has done, but he's got all a bit loose there on the exit curb. That's been quite a pain for a lot of the drivers here in this race. I think that's one of the deadliest curbs in the wet, as we've seen. I mean, Kosinskas being one of them who lost the car there earlier on in the race, and I think a few other drivers. I think Van Horn nearly lost it there as well. Not 100% sure. It was one of the Assetto racing team drivers who did lose the car, or almost lost the car there. Now the gap you can see there between Sidor and Castorino, 6.4 seconds. This lap from Castorino is 147.9. From Sidor, he's lapping in the 151s. And Palatella lapping 2 seconds a lap quicker here as well. In fact, Sidor that last lap of 150.8. Palatella this last lap is going to be 149.5. Yeah, about a second a lap quicker now. We'll go on board with Palatella now. Where is Sidor? If you can bring him up, his bring his POV up even, would be nice. There we go, we've got his POV up now. See there, a lot of water on the circuit now, especially on the racing line here. Yeah, Sidor's still on the slicks. I think Palatella maybe on the slicks or maybe on the wets. It's hard to tell. Very hard to tell at the moment. I'm sure once we get some interviews with the drivers, we'll be able to see what strategy they've been on in the race. Oh, it looks like Mullard has retired as well. What's happened to Mullard? Oh, he made. I didn't read that. I didn't read that comment. Sorry, I missed that. Made a complete mess of his pit stop and backwards hurting. Yeah, unfortunate there. But you're running a great race up until then. Nevertheless, yeah, we've had a few retirements already, but there's just been so much action. I haven't been paying attention there. Palatella, it's got the slipstream. Look at the closing speed here, coming up towards the Porsche of Sidor. They're going to be side by side, coming up towards turn one, and it looks like Palatella's going to try around the outside, and he's got that done. No, they're still side by side, I think. Oh, he has got that. Sorry, he has got that done. It's the camera views that are confusing me. He got that done around the outside into turn one. Probably should have gone trackside for that, but yeah, he got that done around the outside, and up into P2 goes. Sidor is still with the fastest lap of the race. I think he's going to stay with that. He got that when the track went to greasy, so it's not going to change. He's going to pick up a point for that as well. We've got Benequista and Mitchell battling for position now. In fact, looks like Benequista's made that move on Mitchell. And Mitchell lapping in the 2 minutes that last time around. Benequista with a 151, so 9 seconds quicker. I think that must have been a huge error for Mitchell, unfortunately, and looks like that's Maggieri. Oh no, knees in the car there on the exit. Pardon me, on the exit of the hairpin, not the hairpin, the chicane. That's the one. Looks like I think he hooked the curb on the inside. He bounced the car, and then in the wet, doing that, it's gonna. Well, you're going to have to reap the consequences after that. And Jerry faced the wrong way. Only P21. I think this is probably going to be one of his drop rounds. He's running quite high in the championship at the moment, is Maggieri. But looking back to prior who has just got a move done here on Patrick. Then up into P14 he goes. Prior, I mean, was running in P13. Oh, sorry, no. Prior was running in P9. The 5 positions down, and that's just down to the pit stop. That second pit stop that Prior made. But yeah, the track definitely looks wet now. It's definitely borderline wet as we speak. So those drivers who are on the slicks are going to be struggling, and Den with a huge mistake there, but he's not going to lose a position. That is one of the lead cars. I believe that's D'Angelo. No, it's not D'Angelo. It's Carlino then. There we go. Carlino in P4. They've got slightly different liveries, I think. Yeah. So D'Angelo's got the white on the front, and Carlino's got the black on the front. Both in the Aston Martin, both from SPQR as well. And there's quite a few SPQR drivers here, part of their academy racing with us, which is great to see. And they haven't been on ACC for long, some of these drivers in their academy. And looks like McGarry is going to go for a move here on Mitchell, and he's got that position back. But will he make the same mistake he did last time? No, staying well clear of that curb on the second half of that chicane. He's learnt his mistake. He's learnt from his mistake last time. And where's our race leader, Castorino? 14.6 seconds ahead of Palatella. That's a huge lead. So Castorino, yep, there we go, wet track now. So Castorino's definitely stayed in the wet tyres, and it's paid off for him. Somehow he predicted that right. But we look to Sidor now. It's only, well, it says 2.6 seconds off of Palatella. It looks to be a bit more, but I think no, that is about 2.6 seconds. I think it's just a camera view here coming down the straight. But Carlino lapping in the 152s as well. I don't think he's on wet tyres at the moment. I'm not 100% sure. They were lapping much quicker than they were before, because Castorino's in the 148s. The rest, well, in the 150s, 153s, 152s. And for Sidor, I definitely think he's on the slick tyres here. You see all the water on the circuit there at the moment. I know Scott saying great speed there. I believe that was the comment on the overtake the BMW did on the Sidor. And looks like we had someone wide in the background. I'm not exactly sure who that was, but Blanchet on the back of Den once again. These two have been battling so much. They've been chopping and changing positions. Blanchet gets past, makes a mistake, then gets past, then makes another mistake, and these two have been really even so far in this race. Then I believe started in, let's have a look. Oops. Then started in P13, so he's only lost 2 positions from the start. Blanchet, however, started in P20, so he's made up 4 positions here. And let's see if we'll make another. We've got the race leader there crossing the line. Castorino in P1 with a 17.1 second lead to Palatella. He's going across the line in P2. He called that strategy right, and well, I think a bit of luck played in his favour, but that's a big part of racing as well. So Palatella in P2. Sidor's going to cross the line in P3. Could have been there for Sidor. Carlino is going to... Oh, is he run out of fuel? Carlino, he's run out of fuel. No, this has happened before for one of the SPQR drivers, and Angelo is going to get past Carlino. Oh no, he hasn't. I think there was a bit of a tactic there between the two. Maybe for the championship here as well. Andrew's going to finish P4, Carlino P5, maybe some team orders between the two. Brown here was going to finish P6 here. Trapani is going to cross the line in P7. Kutcher's going to cross the line in P8. Curtin P9. Prior in P10. So that rounds off your your top 10 for this race. We'll be back very shortly for some interviews as well. So stick with us, and yeah, we'll be back in just a moment. Right, so we're going to try and get some interviews with the top three from this race. We've still got quite a few people watching as well. Johan saying in the comments, P11 with dry tyres. Good for well, I don't know where you started. I think you had an incident into turn one, but that was good. Anyways, let's get some of the drivers in for an interview. First we've got Palatella. So here we go, Palatella. What a race from you! Another podium. P3 last round and P2 this time around. So some great points once again. Tell us how you're feeling.
Oh yeah, thank you for what you just said. And yeah, I mean, I could have won this race, I think, because I did some mistakes, especially with strategy. Because when I changed tires, I went for the slicks, and so when I started to rain again, I had issues with the pace, of course, compared to Castorino, which I think he decided to go on the wet tire. So yeah, I think in terms of pure pace, I could have won maybe, but considering the big mistake of the strategy, it's a good result anyway. So I'm quite happy about it.
Yeah, it was a very difficult strategy call to make. The track went greasy, which is slick tires, but yeah, it started to rain more unexpectedly. But yeah, it's down to luck, I think, as well. But yeah, podium is P2 is really good. Now going into last round, which is Watkins Glen. How are you feeling?
I don't know, because I don't know if it will be rainy or sunny, but yeah. Apart from that, I will try to do my best, because I think I'm in a good position for the championship to finish in the top 3. If I do a good race next round, I think I can do a podium at the end of the season.
Yeah, if you can, it's going to be really good points for the championship, and you have a good chance of getting P2 in the championship. In fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations once again on this result.
Yeah,
and we hope to see you for next round, last round.
Yeah, we'll see. Bye.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye bye.
There we go. We got we got one more drive, I believe. Castorino is going to jump in, so here we go. There we have it, Castorino. Another great result from you. Another P1. That's 4 P1s in a row in this championship. And, well, you're going to extend your championship lead. And, well, you picked the right strategy for today. Stayed in the wet tyres. And it paid off. So, a P1 for you. And, yeah, going into the last round. Do you have less pressure or more pressure?
Less pressure, because I think I have a good gap. And, yeah, the race was funny, not so much for the battle, but because it was interesting to see what was the best strategy. And luckily, I think I chose the best strategy, and I think I was the only one on the front stay all the race on wet tire, because yeah, I see the track is greasy, so with the wet tire I don't lose so much, like 5/10, 1 second per lap. And I see in the last 10-15 minutes the weather returned to rain, so I was thinking it's better stay all the race on wet tire, and I think was the best choice.
Yeah, it worked out for you, and yeah, you took P1 back off of Sidor, and yeah, another good result from you. And going into the last round, which is Watkins Glen. Is it a good track for you, or a difficult track?
It's a tricky track because for the bump stop chicane, the bus stop chicane.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good track, but it's easy to do mistake.
Yeah, it's Very, very true. Tricky track, but Honda is good there as well. So, well, we hope to see another good result from you. But congratulations once again, and we'll
Thanks.
see you for the final round.
Yeah.
There we have it, ladies and gents. I believe that is it. Pardon me for interviews. We'll be live. Oh no, looks like we've got someone else. We've got one more driver before we get going. We've got Novak here. Oh, we've got Novak in for an interview. So, I believe you finished P12 in that race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Behind Jan.
Yeah.
I did.
That was a good result. I mean, where did you start? I don't remember.
Somewhere 17.
Oh wow.
I think.
Yeah. So.
Or 14. Or I was 14, but I dropped back in the beginning again. Like went for a safety turn 1 and turn 2. Got hit, but anyways, like we decided for a strategy wet, stay as long as possible out there, overheating. But then, yeah, the strategy like went really well. I was able to catch 2 positions in the end and made it nearly to Jan, but he made also a really good strategy staying on dry tires, and he made it to 11. So that's good for Edweiser.
Yeah. Great for your team. I think the dry tires are a massive risk. But yeah, the wets seem to be the best strategy call. I know Castorino finished P1, went for wet and wet as well. And that paid off for him. And well, it paid off for you as well. But yeah, I think if there was more time in the race, you would have been able to catch Jan and gain another position.
Yes. 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was lucky. We both made some mistakes, so gap stayed the same. But it was really fun.
Yeah, I think that's your best finish of the season so far.
It is. I was so afraid of Imola and rain, and all glory to Carl. He got hit twice, unfortunately, but his strategy definitely helped me get into that place. So thanks to Carl again.
Yeah, and going into the last round now, Watkins Glen, Porsche is really good there, but it is a very tricky track. So how are you feeling?
To be honest, I'm really looking forward to that race, but you know, I was afraid of Imola and rain, and it went well. So Watkins Glen, maybe dry. So let's see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So yeah, great hearing from you, and we'll see you for the final round at Watkins Glen.
Yeah. See ya. Bye bye.
Thanks. Take care. There we have it, ladies and gents. That was it for this round of IMB Racewear. We'll be live once again on Friday for the final round of the Moser Racing Championship. That is at Brands Hatch as well, and that's going to be in the wet as well. But yeah, we'll be live on Friday, and then we'll be live on Monday for the final round of the SimZone Championship, and then we're live next week on Wednesday again for the final round of the IMB Racewear Championship. And then we have our off-season, so a bit of time to relax. We have some off-season events as well if you're interested in signing up in those. And for PC, our championship should be announced by the end of this week, if not beginning of next week as well. I think that's the latest our championships will be announced. But keep your eyes peeled on our Discord. If you're not in there already, head to our website, thesimzone.com. Leave us a link in the description. Sign up. If not, just look up the SimZone on Google and it'll come up. But yeah, that's it from us tonight, and we will be back live on Friday.